Clyma, editor of Pet Food Processing magazine. Today on Processor Perspective, I'm speaking with Jim Holdrieth, CEO of Muenster Milling, a manufacturer of premium dry and freeze-dried dog and cat food based in Muenster, Texas. You can read more about the company in the January-February issue of Pet Food Processing. Thanks for taking the time to talk with me today, Jim.
No problem, Kimberlie. Always good to talk to you.
So let's start with some background. Muenster Milling has been a family-owned business since 1932, first producing dry extruded pet foods, and in 2018 the company added freeze-dried pet food to its portfolio. In order to take the company to the next level and to expand its freeze-dried market opportunities, the decision was made to build a new 65,000 square foot freeze-drying facility in Denton, Texas. Along with this growth expansion, Muenster Milling partnered with Kainos Capital. Jim, can you tell us a little about this partnership and how it's helping to move Muenster to the next level?
Sure, Kimberlie. As the Felderoffs built an incredible pet food company business over 4 generations, with Mitch and Chad Felderhoff being the most recent owners from the family side of things. And they had scaled the business from what started out as a kibble business with an extrusion facility up in Muenster, Texas, into the freeze dry arena. But like many family owned businesses, they lacked the capital to actually take it to the next level to address the marketplace for freeze dry. And freeze dry was growing very dramatically. So that's where really Kainos comes in. Kainos came in to provide that capital to the family to take the business to the next level. So first and foremost, it's the capital to fund the build of a vertically integrated, highly automated facility that we operate out of Denton, Texas. Secondly, and different than a lot of private equity companies, Kainos has a operating team. And when I say an operating team, they have industry experts that they deploy across all of their portfolio companies. So again, coming from a small family business and trying to scale the business very dramatically, we have the opportunity to borrow some of those resources for their subject matter expertise, whether we need engineering help, human resources help, or supply chain help. So those assets basically get deployed into the portfolio company to help build the foundation for growth, and then they exit it when the company is ready with their own personnel on site. So Kainos plays a significant role in what we do and how we do it every day.
So, part of the evolution of the company was bringing you on as CEO, and there's been other additions to the company's management team. Can you share a little bit more about those new management additions and how this new team is helping to change the focus of the company?
Well, it's all about the people at the end of the day, from my standpoint, Kimberly. If you get the people right, generally you'll get the business right. And so, coming into the situation that I came into, I wanted to make sure that I had kind of the best in class from an executive leadership team. And that really starts with my CFO, my chief financial officer. I hired a gentleman by the name of Matt Donald to join me as we scale this business. Matt comes from the human ingredient side of things, but he's also got a lot of experience in the private equity world. So he has taken smaller companies and, with the partnership of a private equity, helped to scale those, into something bigger than what they started out with. So really happy to have Matt on board. But in addition to him, I've added several other resources to my team. The next person that I added was Chad Felderhoff. Chad, obviously a fourth generation owner of the business. We brought Chad into the executive vice president of operations role. So he has responsibility for all of our operations, both at our kibble facility as well as at our freeze dry facility. From there, one of the complex issues within the freeze dry arena is the supply chain. It's a very complex supply chain with a lot of movements of material, taking raw meat and ultimately converting it into a freeze dry product that's gone through a kill step and goes into a bag. With that level of complexity, we needed to have a great leader for supply chain to make sure that those movements, take place seamlessly. So we hired Luis Caldera to come on board. He comes from the human nutrition world, really the supplement world, and a co-manufacturing experience, which is our primary course of business. So Luis has developed the processes and the movements of material to ensure that we have great service levels with a great product that's on time and in full to our customers on a consistent basis. From a quality standpoint, I've brought on a new director of quality, Richard Eakin. Richard comes from the processed meat world, so he's not been in pet food, but he's been in the human meat arena. And Richard brought the mentality of managing a human meat facility to a pet food facility. So he's had a dramatic impact on how we operate with our processes, how we handle the product throughout our facility. He's developed culture within our people and our organization to make sure that we've got the right mindset in terms of how we address what we do on the floor each and every day. And I'm happy to say that probably his most glaring successes have come with our SQF certifications that we've actually received over the course of the last month, where both our kibble facility as well as our new freeze dry facility scored very high from an SQF standpoint or are fully certified at this point. And then finally, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about our commercial organization. That's the face to our customers. Those are, that's how we partner with our customers. That's how we develop growth opportunities with projects that make sense for both of us. That's led by two gentlemen. Ryan James joined us. Ryan comes from the pet food industry, multiple years in that space, leading different types of pet food constructs successfully, both from a private label, co-manufacturing standpoint, et cetera. And then finally, Dave DiLorenzo. Dave has over 35 years of pet food experience. He brings basically, he's our business development vice president. So his job is to work with our sales organization and with our customer partners to make sure that we address all the opportunities within the freeze dry arena. So a lot of changes on the management team over the course of the past year.
Sounds like you have quite a great team together to bring you into the next phase of Muenster. So, as I mentioned before, Muenster Milling has been in the freeze drying business for a few years, but it's the new facility in Denton, Texas, that's really expanding your capabilities in freeze drying. Can you tell us a little about the decision to build this facility and what it's going to offer your customers?
Yeah, so and I touched a little bit on that. Essentially, when Kanos made the majority investment into the company, essentially they sat down with Mitch and Chad and they looked out into the future of where freeze dry was going. And it's always you want to go to where the puck is going, right? And where they saw the puck going was a very a very fragmented supply chain from a freeze dry supplier condition, service levels that were relatively low across the whole industry, and nobody really controlling, the whole execution of the freeze dry product. So they put together a plan to build a vertically integrated plant in Denton. And by vertically integrated, I mean that we are buying raw meat blocks that we bring into our facility. We will transform those meat blocks into anything from a simple treat into a complete and balanced meal through all of the investment that we've made on the front end of our facility. But within that, once it's actually formed into a patty or a nugget or a meatball, whatever that form the customer's looking for, we go directly across the hall into our freeze dry operation. We put it into our freeze dryers. Our freeze dryers have cycle times to them where basically they're removing the moisture from the product. And then from there, it'll go through a kill step and then into a bag, all within one roof. The big investment, or the big dream, if you will, was one facility with all the pieces and parts to execute this. The other piece of it, though, was making sure that we did it in a cost-effective manner. And there were automation opportunities across the board in every area of the facility. So we've developed a highly automated facility that reduces the amount of labor. It increases your efficiency with your labor. It mitigates the risk in terms of contamination with the number of people that are touching the product. And it also gives you a higher quality product because you're kind of taking human error out of the question with all the automation that we've built into the facility.
So, on that level, automation, tell me a little more about the automation that you're bringing into this new facility and how it's going to really change operations.
Yeah, so the automation, as I mentioned, is in really every area of the plant. So if you look at a most freeze dry operations, there's a heavy labor load in the front end, the meat room, if you will, where you're taking those raw meat blocks and you're converting them into IQF patties or nuggets, et cetera. And through robotics, in moving a lot of the material from the freezer onto trays and from trays onto carts, et cetera, obviously, you get a lot of efficiency with that and you can deploy your labor elsewhere. So that's a lot of the investment in terms of automation on the front end. Our freeze dry operation historically relied on a freeze dry operator that was managing that process. Today, we've automated that across the board with programming where we have recipes built into our freeze dryer where you push a button and once the carts get loaded in and that button gets pushed, the freeze dryer takes over and it knows what to do, at what temperature to do it, and when to stop doing it. So it's a scientific based, quantifiable method of removing the moisture and making sure you've got a good product with good color, good texture, etc. Then you get into the packaging arena, and we invested heavily in two highly automated packaging lines, high speed packaging lines. So, we used to operate off of individual packaging pieces of equipment, whereas today we've been able to increase our efficiencies and our throughput dramatically with the high speed packaging line.
So, to wrap things up a little, I'd like you to sort of look ahead and share a little about what's on the horizon for Munster Milling and what is the new mission of this company.
Yeah, I don't think the mission has changed so much as our ability to actually execute against the mission. That's what I'd say where all of the work has been done. Our mission has always been to be the preferred formulator and contract manufacturer of freeze dried pet food treats and toppers for fast growing brands and retailers. So that has not changed. And what has changed is really we're a one stop solution now where these movements from the raw meat into the bag and the various steps along the process, you now can come to us and we can do the whole formulation for you, part of the formulation for you. So whatever level of the front end work in the project that needs to take place, but then actually make that idea come to life through one facility in Denton, Texas.
Well, thanks so much for taking the time to speak with me today, Jim, and for sharing a little more about the evolution of Munster Milling with our audience.
Kimberly, I appreciate your time as always, and I'm always excited to talk about the great things going on at Muenster Milling.
So, thanks for watching this episode of Processor Perspective. And don't forget to look for our cover story on Munster Milling in the January February issue of Pet Food Processing.